Hello, it's time for Soul Maureen again. Today's topic is about Feng Shui. A student came to me and said, Sifu, I found you before to help me check the Feng Shui, not for myself, but for my company. Of course, the boss is the most important person in the company. That was back in 2023 when I checked it for him. At that time, I told him that the room, the boss's office, well, the 3 stars there weren't that favorable anymore. But there was nothing he could do. He couldn't move to another location, so he could only stay in that room. I told him, the only thing is, there are still many ways to remedy the situation. Ideally, it would be best if he could find the most favorable 3 stars this year, which would bring power and authority. But if that's not possible, then we have to look at his Bazi and see which of the 5 elements he's lacking, and help him from the perspective of the 5 elements. So I suggested that he put a lot of potted plants by the window, because all those plants represent the wood element. He also needs the fire element, so today there are some red items, like ornaments, his cushions, and even red vases. All these red things are actually helpful for him, so that's sorted for now. Then, every month, depending on how the 5 elements shift or change, we'll follow up and make adjustments as needed. But recently, he said his boss is going to be replaced by another boss, but of course, it's still the same office. I said, you can't change that room. He said it's a bit difficult. I said, no problem, there's nothing we can do, it's still that same room. Of course, we also need to look at the new boss's Bazi birth chart. How do we adjust things? For this boss's Bazi, he needs both metal and water, so the plants that were in the room before, they have nothing to do with him, they're useless for him, they can't help him at all. Actually, you should put more pots, silver pots, gold pots, or those stoves, things that belong to the metal element. And as for water, of course, he can have some items with moving water, things that have flowing water. So we always say, when we look at Feng Shui, the most important thing is to make sure you pick the room with the best 3 stars. If you're the boss and your office doesn't have the 3 stars for authority, then how are you supposed to manage the company? But no. And you can't use the second best location either. Then if you really have to use it, we need to look at his Bazi, his 5 elements, and see which elements can help him and match accordingly. This is how we handle it in Feng Shui, so that's why when we look at new Feng Shui, we must check the person's Bazi. That's the explanation. Alright, that's all for the explanation. Bye-bye.